So hello and welcome to the China Masterclass webinar. My name is Paul Sutton and I'm the co-founder of LCN Legal. And our special guest today is actually Sally Maier-Yip, who is usually my co-host, but today she's here in her capacity as an expert on China-related PR. Just in case you haven't come across the Masterclass series before, so the series is very much how to build long-term trust, relationships and value in China. And today's session is really very much nuts and bolts. It's focusing on China PR strategies, and in particular the do's and don'ts in relation to that. So thank you very much, Sally.
Thank you.
So just to kick things off, Sally, please, could you just go through maybe the top 5 PR strategies that Western groups are using in relation to China right now in terms of their brand building?
Sure. Thank you so much, Paul, for having me as the guest speaker today. So I think to answer this question, we need to consider the current situation, which is COVID, which we are all facing this year, and it does change our way of communication in some way. So I would say before we go into the details of the strategies, the common tactics, I think is so important that we bear in mind the purpose of your communications, and in fact, all the successful communications these days is all about the purpose of the brand. So meaning, before you communicate, think about your vision. What is the purpose of your company? That's what people want to hear in this COVID time. They don't want hard sales. They want to actually understand you as a person, as a human being during this challenging time. The top 5 strategies. So start with why, the purpose, and then think about what. So what are you actually selling? What are you communicating to your target audience? So it comes to who. So who are your buyers? Who are your clients? And then the next is how and where. So that is the kind of the PR strategies, the tactics. So how and where you are going to communicate your purpose to your target audience. And then I can quickly go through the 5 top tips or tactics that are commonly used by brands that are tested and proved to be successful in a lot of cases. And I have to say 5 because if you just do one, it doesn't work. Even though we are all stuck at home and digital becomes so important. Unfortunately, digital is not very sexy, so you still need something offline. So the common static mix of offline and online activities. So from a PR perspective, so media is still critical. When I say media, it means media that are trusted and well read by your target audience. So for example, if you are a business B2B company, then it will be you want to be seen as an expert in the business press, such as Forbes China, China Daily, BBC China. So you still want to talk to this media, get yourself interviewed by them. So the first one is media. The second one is social media. So we can't ignore social media because of COVID, because of how we are so digitally connected now. Having said that, I don't mean you need to be on all the social media. It's exhausting and it's diluting your messaging. So really look at the functions and the audiences of each platform, such as WeChat, Weibo, TikTok, etc., and then really find the best channel to communicate, to talk to your audience directly. The third one is partnership. So do make friends with like-minded brands and people who are targeting the same people, who share the same values, similar visions. That will help you to associate yourself with the right people and talk to the right people. So to give you an example, so for example, if you're a luxury retail brand, probably you want to talk to luxury hotel brand because you're targeting the same people who can afford luxury lifestyle. So that will help you to win and widen your reach further. The fourth one is events. So events is still important. When I say event, it means to really show your face, to get your customer to experience who you are in person. I think despite the amazing technology we are having, it's still so important to make the human connections, to build the loyalty, to build the trust, which cannot be replaced by a Zoom call. Finally, I would say thought leadership, speaking opportunities. So you want to be seen as a trusted expert in your own industry, whether you are a B2B or B2C company. Still, it's about the person, about the CEO, the ambassador of the company. So make sure you are seen and recognized at the right conferences that are well trusted and well attended by a target audience. So in summary, so it's about media, social media, events, partnership, and speaking as a 5 common ways to do PR in China. Of course, we need to tailor for each company according to our target audience, but that's kind of the common successful tactics for businesses to raise their brand awareness in China.
Okay, thanks. Can I just drill down? So one thing that we've heard a lot about in our previous interviews together has been about live streaming. Is that part of social media? And it does seem to be something very special to China in terms of the incredible impact that has. Can you just share a bit more about that?
Yeah, you asked such a good question. Yes, so live streaming has been popular for a while, but the COVID has accelerated live streaming, that everyone can just do a live streaming. When we say live streaming, it means simply you do a live recording. It can be what we are doing is kind of live recording, live streaming as well. So yes, so because of COVID, people want to talk to people. People still want to engage with people, and with the constraints of meeting people, so therefore people then start to talk to computer live streaming. And the differences between China and the West is that in China, even the CEO of big company like Jack Ma, Alibaba, we are not surprised that he always come to talk to us live streaming. But we don't expect the CEO of Unilever, CEO of Nestle doing live streaming. So I think that's the cultural differences, and also how how different this is between China and the West. And even in the Western world, I believe that it is changing. Facebook Live is already very popular. And I know that LinkedIn also wants to catch up with Facebook, because the live video is becoming a really popular channel to make sales, to make advertising revenues as well. So I think actually, in terms of live streaming, China is a bit ahead of the West, and the West is also trying to do more live videos on social media platforms such as Facebook and LinkedIn. And I think it is going to be even more popular in 2021 when we are returning to COVID. I think for all the events, you need to be offline as well as you need to be online. So meaning that when you're having a physical conferences, we as an audience also expect you have live streaming online as well, which is different before COVID, that when you have offline, we don't expect to be online. But I think in the future, we expect that when you have offline, you also have online. So I think that's coming in 2021.
Yeah, okay, really interesting, thank you. So just flipping the other side, what do you see as the biggest mistakes that Western corporates are making when they're trying to build their brands in China?
Yes, I think it's such a good question. Well, we know what to do, but we should definitely know what not to do, which cause more harm and damages in some way. So I would say the 3 common mistakes are political involvement, cultural insensitivity, and misusing the stereotype of China. So what I mean, for example, back in 2018, Mercedes car brand, they launched poster campaign, and on the poster they put that a quote from Dalai Lama saying that you will have a new perspective every day on a Mercedes brand. As when you're driving, yes, you have a new perspective, but then with a quote of Dalai Lama, which is not good. That even People Dailies, #1 daily newspaper in China, saying that this is the enemy of Chinese people. So don't play with politics when you're trying to communicate with the Chinese consumers in China. It doesn't go well. So that's a mistake that Mercedes brand made in 2018. The other one is the very famous Dolce & Gabbana eating with chopstick campaign in 2018. Again, they try to make fun of Chinese model eating pasta with chopstick. It sounds very creative, but it doesn't work. For Chinese people, they feel they are offended, as if you mean that we don't know how to eat pasta and we need to use chopstick to eat pasta. So again, immediately big e-commerce players like JD.com and Tmall pull out the products of Dolce & Gabbana from their website. So sometimes you have to be really mindful of their cultural sensitivity when you try to be more creative from a Western perspective. So that's the number 2 common mistake. Mm-hmm. The third one is really not really understanding the tradition or the stereotypes of the old China. I think last year in 2019, Burberry launched a Chinese New Year campaign. So on the poster, they put a very sad-looking grandmom in the middle of the poster. They wanted to play the idea of modern family, but it doesn't work again, because for us, Chinese New Year is about joy and togetherness. And if people feel that this is a happy poster, so again, sometimes brands go too much of the core values of Chinese traditions. So small thing like that's cost $1 million or billion pounds of money of sales loss. So I think it is really important that when the Western brands go to China, they need to adapt their products, their messaging, while they still keep their core brand values. So that's what I would say, what not to do when you try to do PR in China.
Yeah, I mean, that's so fascinating that such large brands, such large corporates like Mercedes and Dolce & Gabbana, or well-known corporates, could make those kind of mistakes, and I guess it all follows under the heading cultural awareness, isn't it? And you'd only have to guess that maybe they've just used an international PR agency who wasn't attuned to China and sort of failed to make that adaptation. So that's really interesting. Okay, yes. Thank you. So just wanted to bring the discussion to COVID and maybe the aftermath of COVID. And obviously, for a lot of corporates, they're going through very stressful times from an economic perspective, and maybe pulling back on investment, investment in marketing and PR. Whereas, as I understand it, other corporates have actually managed to increase their sales in China dramatically, including during this period. So, what's your view of all this?
Yes, I think that is such a dilemma for a lot of companies. Should I spend or not spend? And in fact, not from a PR person at all, but my genuine thought is that that is actually the best opportunity to increase your share of voice and market shares when your competitors are not doing anything. So it's just like me running my own company. When my competitors become silent during this time, that actually is my time to increase my visibility and to build a trust with my potential customers, including the customers from my competitors. So it applies to all the businesses, I guess, who want to look into China. And in fact, to be honest, China is quite back to normal, while the West is still trying to beat the virus. That my colleague in Shanghai is already going to 200 people party in Shanghai. Not masks. People are flying domestically. I mean, life is really normal in that perspective. So just now we are in November month, and just to give you 2 recent examples. Recently we just passed the Single Days 11/11, which is the world's biggest shopping online event in China. Because of COVID, they extend the 1-day shopping day to 11 days from the 1st of November, 11th of November, so that shop more, and this is the real statistics that the biggest two e-commerce players, JD.com and Tmall, combined, they actually saw 88 billion pounds sales over the past 11 days. So that's the fact that actually Chinese consumers are hungry and really want to spend and are willing to spend. So don't forget that people are already back to normal in China, while our home country may still be struggling a bit economically. And also recently there is the China International Import-Export, whereby foreign companies try to sell products to the Chinese market. And even the presidency in the opening speech saying that we want to make China to be a market for all, to be accessible for all. So anything come from the top is a strong message to the foreigners that you are most welcome to do business in China. We are opening Chinese market to you. And for UK DIT, they actually also bought a lot of UK agriculture and food and drinks brands in China back in early November this year. And they did see around 50 million pounds commercial deals happen during this expo, focusing on the UK agriculture and food and drink sectors. So I think these two incidents are very, very strong evidence of why companies should still bring investment and invest in the China market. So it's no-brainer if you are not looking at the China market right now.
Sure. Okay. Fantastic. So final question is again about COVID and the aftermath of COVID. And if you imagine that you are speaking to a marketing director in a Western group that is already present in China, already has some underlying PR activity. So the question is, and the question I ask you is, how should we adapt our PR strategies and our PR activities in, during the rest of COVID and the aftermath? Yeah. What would you say to them?
Yes. I think they must be doing the right thing. But what I would really strongly recommend is to revisit your purpose, meaning the vision of your company. And I said that because different reports did say that, for example, Edelman just launched a Trust Barometer report, which interviewed 20,000 people on the ground in China and Asia and ask them questions about trust. And the report did show that 69% of Chinese people in China said that they believe that trust is more important than before, meaning before COVID-19. And 80%, even 88% of people said that they asked their friends to stop using a brand if they think that the brand is not reacting to the COVID-19 positively, meaning that they expect brands to do something for the society to solve the big problem. So we see that people are actually judging you based on why you are doing what you are doing before they even get what you are doing on social media. They want to understand, are you doing good to the society? And actually, I think 74% of Chinese customers said that they would use a new brand if they show innovative and compassionate element of their business, compared to only 40% in the rest of the world. So it showed that Chinese people really value about trust, even more so than the rest of the world. So I think it's so important for Western brands to inject this trust element in their PR strategy. When I say trust, it means back to the purpose, to communicate really well. And I believe that even McDonald's recently announced that they are changing their strategy, meaning that to be focusing on the purpose of the business, meaning in reality what they are doing to the farming community, what they are doing to reduce the waste along the supply chain. So really pick your story correctly to go back to the purpose of the company. And I think that would help you to build the trust and therefore more sales and loyalty of your customers.
Sure. And I can see how that could really tie in with approaches like live streaming, especially when you have a senior representative of the group, because if she or he is talking in a way which appears to be purely about self-promotion and sales, as opposed to speaking from the heart and explaining what is the value that their group or their product stands for, then it's a very big difference, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, Chinese people love to see what the CEO is talking about, not hard sales, but just about the company value and why you are doing what you are doing. It does help to communicate, and then the channels or the platform are just a mean to deliver your messaging. So I think make sure right at the top your messaging is correct, and then you think about how to communicate with them through different channels, whether it's live stream, media, events, partnership, it doesn't matter. But getting your messaging right is the most important part before you say everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Great. Well, I think that's all we've got time for on this interview. Usually at this stage I would recap on key points, but I think we've already come back to the key point from your perspective, Sally, which is about linking in with the purpose and tying all the communications across the various different channels in with that. So thank you very much. Over to you, Sally. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
Yes, I think if you would like to have a brainstorm session for your China PR strategy, please do reach out to me. I'm very happy to have a real or virtual coffee with you. And if you have more questions about PR in China, do contact me as well. I'm always happy to make a connection and help out.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you.